What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Tesla. And well, we're a day late and a dollar short, but welcome back to Tesla Talk Tuesday. On to some interesting things. So yesterday, after hours, Tesla announced a 5-for-1 stock split. So with the stock trading at a little over $1,500 per share, they will be trading at around $300 per share, if I did my math right. And for every share that you own, you'll have 5 shares. So in theory, nothing changes. Everything stays the same. You still own the same percentage-wise amount of Tesla. So yeah, but the stock went up over 13% today on this news. And well, there's some things that sort of come along with a stock split. But before we get into the stock split implications and what that exactly means for the stock and shareholders and all that good stuff, I want to touch on Lucid Motors. Now, Lucid Motors, I think about a week ago, had a little teaser video, like 18 seconds long, basically showing a mileage display. And that mileage display slowly ticks up. This is the amount of miles on their car. It ticks up, it slows down right around 402 miles, which is currently, I believe 402, is what the Model S displays online as the EPA estimated range. So it slows down right around there before proceeding to speed back up and go all the way up to like 500 before fading out. So that was a week ago. Then this week, they came out and they said that their Lucid Air should have an EPA estimated range of 517 miles. That is awesome. So not only is it going to have incredible specs, but 517 miles of range. That is very cool. However, there are some things missing from this equation. Now, it doesn't really matter, I guess, too much about this. 517 miles is impressive and awesome nonetheless, but we don't know the weight. So it could have, 180 kilowatt hour battery, or it could have a 100 kilowatt hour battery. We don't really know. So this will just more, I guess, show the software and hardware working together and how efficient the car is based on the battery pack size and the range that they're saying the car will get. Kind of like Tesla right now, if you take like the Model S long range, for example, at 402 miles of range, it is very impressive, but it is a nice symbiosis that they have figured out between software and hardware. If you, start to look at other car companies, they have, 85 kilowatt packs or something like that, or the Model 3 with a 75 kilowatt pack. And then you look at the range on those things, that's where you start to see how efficient are these vehicles and, how well are they implementing the software and the hardware together to get the most range out of these cars. So this 517 miles is very impressive. They do have a, announcement day, I guess, planned, I believe, for September 9th. So on 9/9/2020, Lucid Motors will be doing a whole presentation on the car. My understanding is they're going to give, I guess, more specs. So, probably exact pricing, a ton more pictures. They're probably going to give details on the battery sizing and things like that. However, the car will not be available for another year. So like I said, Tesla has a year to sort of figure things out and improve things and improve range and possibly bump battery sizes, or as battery technology is always improving, bring things down. Now, Tesla does have a battery day lined up later on this year as well, so I'm very excited for that. But either way, I think that Lucid is the first true, all-encompassing competitor. Yes, there's other car manufacturers that have sort of just slapped together a battery with a drive unit or whatever and made an electric car, but they haven't done it in a way that Tesla and Lucid have done it, which is taking the all-encompassing approach, making sure the aerodynamics are good on the car, the drag coefficient is small, making sure the software, the regen braking, the hardware, everything is as efficient as possible so that you're getting every possible mileage and charging out of all the vehicles. So I think Lucid is really going to be that true competitor with Tesla, and they're going to both push each other forward, and maybe they can learn things from each other, because one of the most interesting things is a lot of the upper management and upper engineers are actually ex-Tesla engineers that have gone to Lucid. So it is very cool, but you clearly have a very knowledgeable team that has gone on to help build out this Lucid Air that will be coming out next year, and hopefully we will get a lot more details on September 9th. Okay, so stock split. So technically there's nothing that fundamentally changes, right? You still have the same valuation. You have 5 times more shares outstanding, but each share is worth 5 times less. So it's the same company, it's the same valuation. Now, thank you, Tesla. Now, here's what can change. So sometimes companies will do this for various reasons. One reason is, yes, it does technically make the stock more affordable, and the reason is simple. If you have an average investor, right, in order to buy a share of Tesla right now, you need $1,555 to buy one share. And not all brokerages offer fractional shares, and they don't even offer fractional shares of every company that's a high-priced stock. So it means a lot of people, there's a barrier to entry to buying Tesla stock. So by doing a stock split like this and bringing the share price down to $300 a share, it's much more affordable in the sense that if someone has $300 in their bank account, they can buy one share of Tesla, whereas right now they can't technically go out and buy a fifth of a share of Tesla. There's no way to do that. So in that sense, some people are saying that it is good for the stock and it allows the stock to appreciate even further because you have more people coming in and buying. To the contrary, or to the opposite, I guess, side of that argument is that it's going to be such a minuscule amount that average retail investors aren't dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into the market just because they can suddenly afford a stock. Like, yes, there could be a ton of people that come out and buy, but it's not going to be hundreds of millions or billions of dollars to really move the market cap at all. So, you know, yes, it can cause the stock to go up further, but at the same time, it's not going to be drastic enough to really like push the stock 20% or something like that. So things to keep in mind there. This stock split could also allow Tesla to help their employees invest in the company. And what I mean by this is that some companies offer some sort of match or 401k contributions, for example, or employee stock purchase plans, for example. And what this means is that, say a employee buys, you know, 2 shares or 3 shares of the company might give them an extra share for free. Now, if your share price is $1,500 or more, that's probably not going to happen. You're probably not having employees that are going to allocate, you know, 4 shares worth of their salary into an employee stock purchase program, because that would be like $6,000 just to buy 4 shares, and then Tesla would match 1. So it's much easier if you lower that share price. Now, the other thing is if they just decide to give certain employees stock options when they hire them. So if you give employees stock options, you can do it for larger amounts. Now, one thing is, I know traditional options trade in the form of 100 shares per options contract. So when you set it up that way and you have these contracts out there, you can do it at different strike prices that are much lower. So it's just like other ways of sort of trading the same thing. Yes, underlying the value is still the exact same. If you have 5 shares at $100 or 100 shares at $5, you're talking about the same valuation, right? But it's just a way of sort of doing a different dollar amount, which then becomes sort of a more tangible thing, and is like, okay, well, how much money am I contributing? How much money am I matching? Now, the last thing I'll talk about, I hope that kind of made sense. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is ETFs and mutual funds and just indices in general. So a lot of people have heard of like the Dow Industrial Average or the Dow 30, also the S&P 500. So when Tesla, I guess, averaged a certain market cap, in addition to being profitable for 4 quarters in a row, thank you, Waze, once they were profitable for 4 quarters in a row, they now have the possibility to be included in the S&P 500. And what happens is when you're added to an index like the S&P 500, for example, well, it means that a lot of ETFs or mutual funds may be forced to buy shares of your stock. Yes, forced to buy. Now, this is where you could actually bump the price of a stock, because what might happen is when a company is now part of the S&P 500, there are ETFs that track the S&P 500. And because they track the S&P 500, if you look at like, you know, the footnotes or whatever, the underlying contract of how that ETF has to function is that they will own all components of the S&P 500, which means that if they don't own Tesla, they now have to go out and buy shares of Tesla so long as Tesla stays in the S&P 500. So this does cause a large influx of cash potentially to flow into Tesla stock in a long position that is not going to be selling and not going to be swing trading it. So this is where you get some interesting, I guess, plays as ETFs have to rebalance, as mutual funds have to rebalance, and even as just money managers have to rebalance, is that people are going to start buying this stock. Now, another interesting thing is if you look at something like the Dow 30 or the Dow Industrial Averages, those 30 companies are price weighted. That's the way that index works. So that index actually doesn't have stocks higher than, I think Apple is the highest priced stock in the Dow 30. So what that says is that if Apple is trading at $1,500 a share, they probably wouldn't be included, because what happens in a price-weighted index is that if you were at $1,500 a share, you would drastically, I guess, fluctuate the price of that indice comparable to the rest of the stocks, because your price is so high. So by lowering your price, there's a better chance that you could be included in that, which again would then implicate certain ETFs or mutual funds to have to buy stock in your company because it meets that criteria. So all of these are sort of interesting variables that you have to look at and consider, but they may not be significant or long-term enough to really drastically change the share price. I think the main message at the end of the day is that a stock split doesn't inherently change anything. The valuation of the company, the market cap is still exactly the same, but it could cause some outside buying that wouldn't have normally happened because it's now affordable, or an ETF has to now hold that security. So those are kinds of some things to think about. Anyways, that's going to be it for this Tesla Talk Tuesday, even though it's a Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. But until next time, thanks for watching.